I thought adults, had it all together and had it all figured out. And, it's just so crazy that it's like we're all living this life for the first time. That's what I love about this area, that 5th and 6th grade is puberty, but each year it builds on itself. Then we also talk about healthy relationships. We talk about goals. We talk about risk, so if you do then choose to do these behaviors or activities, this is what, you're at risk for. Yeah. But if you have goals, then that maybe will change your mind about partaking in some of those activities.
What's up, guys? Lift and Love. Lift and Love here. Where did you pull this question from? Lift Love, crochet, we out. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Lifting Love podcast. You are awesome, and today's episode is brought to you by Lake Hickory Pub and Marina, where lake and life meet. But today, we have a very special guest. She is the executive director of the Council on Adolescents of Catawba County. That's a lot to say.
It is.
She's also a Hickory native. It is Jordan Ledford. How are you?
I am great. It's Wednesday, right? I'm like taking things one day at a time, but I'm great. Ready for some warmer weather and being on the lake and all that fun stuff. So it was nice to come out here. I'm like, I'm ready for it. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for making the time to come out here.
Yeah.
So how we start every episode is for the people who might not know who you are, even though you do a lot of stuff in the community. You've been a part of, we'll talk about it here, the Council on Adolescents for 11 years. But for the people who might be living under a rock and don't know who you are,
right.
Who are you and what do you do?
That question is always so loaded. I'm like, where do I begin? So yes, I am a Hickory native, born in Newton. I have lived here my whole life. I went to Fred T. Ford High School. I feel like I got to give it a shout out, right? Which is weird to think about. I went to undergrad at Lenore University where I played volleyball. I was in nursing school once upon a time, and God had a different plan for me. So I graduated with my undergrad in human and community services. Still was not really sure what I wanted to do. Ended up going back to grad school at LR where I was the grad volleyball assistant and got my master's in public health.
Wow.
Graduated again and honestly still didn't know what I wanted to do. It's like, good Lord, when would I ever figure it out? So things, once again, just happened, aligned, found the job at the Council on Adolescents, and I was the teen programs coordinator, then became the executive director. And like you said, 11 years later, I'm like, what has happened and how did I get here? But I love it and wouldn't change anything. Looking back, it's always easier to say that, but it's been a journey.
So how do you go from like multiple different avenues in college to like figuring out like human services is the thing that you wanted to do? Was there like a story, like maybe you did like an internship or like you went to like a soup kitchen or something? Like, is there a thing that narrowed you down to human services?
Honestly, failing out of nursing school. Just going to be honest. Once again, I wanted to be a nurse. My sister's a nurse. I wanted to be a travel nurse in particular. Like I was very set on it. I went to LR, like I said, for nursing and for volleyball, but for nursing. And so when that didn't work out, it was kind of panic mode. I mean, just to be very honest and transparent. But I knew that I still wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. So that is then when I got into some internships. I mean, I chose human and community services based on just talking to advisors, that kind of thing, what they knew about me. And then once I got into internships, it just seemed like, I mean, now once again, looking back, I'm like, it's a perfect fit for me, even more so public health, adolescents. It's wild how everything works out. But
it seems like this like crazy storm when you're in the moment, but then all of a sudden 5 years goes by, 10 years goes by, and you look back and you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And, it seemed crazy, but it all works out.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. It is hard to live by sometimes. Once again, when you're in it, you're like, can everything just settle down and get back on track? But I wouldn't be who I am without the adversity and trials and overcoming things. So I'm grateful.
It's a great place to be at.
Yes, it is.
So I do want to talk, before we get into the executive director position and how you got into that role, I want to talk about being a Hickory native. I think, again, as someone who's also from a small town, but in a lot bigger of a county, it's always interesting to talk to people, because a lot of people are in that mindset of, that this place holds me back, or I need to be in a big city, or whatever that line is. What about Catawba County in this area do you love so much, and could you see yourself living somewhere else?
Yes, I love that question, because I tell people all the time, like, I love Hickory. I love it. I bleed Hickory. Yes, I've lived here my whole life, but I want to tell people about Hickory all the time, especially the growth. Ugh. I mean, it's insane. And of course, I've been here and seen it. So sometimes I even forget, all the different changes. But I feel like once it really hit, whenever I decided to go to Lenore-Ryan, a lot of my friends gave me a hard time because, I'm staying in Hickory. Why wouldn't I get out? They went to NC State and Virginia Tech and all these big places. And once again, I stayed in Hickory. Well, that was when I really feel like I took just ownership of it and how much I loved it. It is very much what you make of it. I feel like there's always things to do if you look for things to do. Once again, it's grown so much, and I'm proud of it. And like I said, I tell people about it all the time, and they're like, "Oh, you're crazy," or especially my college friends. It's interesting to talk to them because I just remember, I guess it was last year, homecoming. Some friends were coming back into town. They hadn't been here in probably 5 or more years. Well, I said something about, we'll go downtown Friday night. Well, they were flying into Charlotte. So they were like, well, we'll just stay here, if you're going to come downtown. Oh. And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, well, because that's what we used to do, go to downtown. That was Charlotte. And I was like, no, like, we're going to downtown Hickory. They're like, what? That was, I feel like, just an eye-opening. I'm like, no, y'all, like, just trust me. Trust me, come. It'll be great. Well, of course, they got here and they were like, what is this place? Oh, my goodness. And so that then, of course, made me just that much happier because I'm like, I told you, it is great. And the small town vibe, though, is still in existence. Yeah. And that's what I love. Like, you can't go really anywhere without seeing somebody blessing and a curse sometimes.
Depending how you look at it.
Right. I was like, depending, on the day. But so I love that. And like I said, I always want to tell everybody about it and just how great it is. Like, come visit. You'll see. So
I think that is one thing I've noticed. I mean, again, I've only been here coming up on my 3rd year here, so I'm an outsider.
Yeah.
But it is so awesome to see the people who are native here to be talking about how awesome it is.
Yeah.
And how much it's grown. Literally what you're talking about. What has, over the course of the time you've lived here, what has been the coolest thing or your favorite thing to see happening in Hickory?
The downtown area.
Beautiful.
By far, yeah. Like I said, I truly forget how far it has come until my friends come back. And they'll be talking about something. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. That. But I love that area. I walk City Walk 3-4 times a week with friends. I feel safe. It is great. I mean, we walk early morning and it's very well lit. Like, I just love that. Sitting outside under the sails is like just one of my favorite things. The fact that you can carry your alcohol wherever. Like I said, my friends, it's great when they come back because they're like, wait, what? You can just carry alcohol around down here? And
that is not a normal thing in a lot of downtown strips.
I'm learning that as I go then to other downtowns and try to carry my alcohol. They're like, what are you doing, ma'am? And I'm like, oh, this isn't an open carry,
Yeah.
Well,
it's like a whole thing where you could because I believe Wilkesboro also has it, and there's some other places out here that have downtown districts.
Yeah,
that you're allowed to go from place to place and carry the alcohol.
Right,
but it's so foreign to other places. Right, it's crazy.
Right? Who would have thought Hickory would be so progressive? And I'm really not an alcoholic. I feel like that's all I've talked about. But I like to have a good time. But yeah, just the downtown area in general. I also go to Newton, which I know people are like, that's so far away.
It's not.
It's right. That's comical to me. My mom is down in Newton, so
10 minutes.
That change and growth down there is also amazing. So, like I said, I'm just clearly so excited about it, and Riverwalk and everything.
The whole county in general.
Yes.
So back to your journey. I just wanted to throw that in there about Hickory because I think it's such a great place because it's still so up and coming. But like the people here, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like it's just a crazy and amazing thing. But it's like we just hit the tip of the iceberg. Like,
right. Yes.
Like we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yes.
So going back to your journey, so you're doing all these different paths in college. What was your college experience like, and what was do you think the biggest lesson that you've learned from failing the nursing route? Like, do you think it held you back? Were you like upset about it, or was it kind of something that motivated you to take the next step into your career?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like once again, I came into my own, obviously in college in general.
Yeah.
But once again, still being in Hickory, but like finding my own way. I just feel like that whole journey was great. But then, yes, all the things I learned from failure, you have your mindset. And I think it is crazy that we expect 18-year-olds to go to college and declare a major and know what they want to do. I mean, because once again, there's days where I'm like, what do I want to do? And I'm 36, So that concept is crazy to me. But I really had my mind so set on being a nurse. Once again, I wanted to be a travel nurse so I could still live in Hickory, but still travel, right, and see the world. So when all of that came crashing down, it was one of those things that like you can have all these great grand plans, but ultimately, once again, I'm a believer and I believe God has a plan, and you have to trust that plan and keep on pushing, when things get hard and just kind of the unknown. Once again, it was like, wait, I'm going to be a nurse. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Even now, people ask me, they're like, would you ever want to go back to nursing school? Never say never, because you learn. But this is absolutely the right path for me. I truly love what I do, the people I work with, adolescents and the adults I work with. So it's just wild how things work out. But like you said before, like just the trials, it can be scary. And
so scary.
Yeah. So
because like you have your mindset, and I think you made a great point as far as like being 16, 17, 18 years old coming out of high school and being like, what are you going to do? And it's like, I mean, if you would have told me coming out of high school that I would be doing this stuff and anything that I'm doing currently, I'd be like, you're lying to me.
Right.
So it's tough to be like, let's put this pressure on somebody to be like, you have to pick something. Like you have to be defined and you're a nurse, you're this or that. But we don't ever talk about, and I'm just going to use your case for example, but failing and not getting to that point. But you have your mindset on like, what do you mean? This is what I'm going to do.
Right.
I have no other thing. I have no plan B.
Yeah.
So when you figured when you figured out that, okay, like this nursing isn't going to happen yet, it could happen in the future. Mm-hmm. But you figure out this other path that you absolutely love. Mm-hmm. Did you go 100% in it right away, or were you still a little skeptical and you were still kind of thinking maybe I go a second round of the nursing?
Still very skeptical. So once again, I like to be transparent about my story just because I guess it's hard to be like, I failed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard to say.
100%.
But so after I graduated with my master's in public health, I actually applied to nursing school again at Chapel Hill.
I love that.
So I'm a Tar. I love the Tar Heels. I only applied there because I was like, if it's meant to be, it will be. I have my master's. Like, surely I'm going to get in. Had an interview at the school. It went great. Of course, they had questions about, why I was wanting to come back and do all these things. They knew I had failed. Once again, I thought it was great. Everybody told me, surely you're going to get in. Like, once again, you have your master's.
Yeah.
I didn't get in. That was when it was like, okay, what in the world? So I was waiting tables at Longhorn. That was just kind of what I'd done on the side, during college. Well, then it became a full-time thing, which is wild.
With your master's, you have your master's and you just got denied for the other nursing program, and with a master's, you're waiting tables.
Waiting tables. Yes. Which actually, I waited tables at Longhorn up until COVID.
Wow.
So for 10 years, while I was still working at the council, I was the director at the council, and I was still waiting tables at Longhorn. Mainly because I just always feel like you have to have a backup plan. Once again, I take care of myself. So always got to have the support. But that was when, like I said, when I got denied from Carolina, which I know Carolina is a very prestigious school. Yeah. Yes, I mean, I set my hopes high, but I also wasn't going to apply to a bunch of different schools and, just get in wherever. Yeah. So it was like, that was when I just remember it was like, all right, like now what? Like clearly that's not what I'm supposed to be doing, So, I think it took me close to a year then to find a job. Wow. And finally somebody gave me a chance at the council because I didn't have experience.
So great transition. You jumped your first job after your master's and all that was right into the council.
Correct. Yes, correct. Which I didn't know anything about the council, which is crazy to me because the council's been around since 1986. So it's been in the county. Programming has changed over the years. Our focus has always been teen pregnancy prevention, but then there's been tobacco, smoking initiatives, different youth initiatives, but we always go back to our roots, we say. So it was a new program that they were starting at the council that a friend of my mom's, luckily, she had told me about. Yeah. And when I started thinking about it, I'm like, I really did have a lot of experience and love for youth. So I worked volleyball camps all the time. I babysat all the time. So when people would ask me, what my interests are, I'm like, I don't know, people. Well, I'm like, actually young people. I really do have more experience, than I realized. Yeah. So then it all just kind of happened. And like I said, Lindsay Lawhon, I'll give her a shout out. Still a dear friend of mine, just gave me a chance. Once again, couldn't even really get an interview because once again, I didn't have any experience. I'm not going to get experience, until somebody gives it to me, right? I'm like, I have experience working with people, waiting tables. Okay. Come on now. So yes, just finally getting that opportunity, and then the rest is history. I mean, it's just as wild then how it has all happened.
And that's crazy too. So you start the job at the council. Mm-hmm. And obviously you don't jump in as the executive director, right? But you jump in, you get an opportunity, but you're still waiting to tables on the side. Yeah. And you did that, you said, up until about 5 years ago. Yeah. When did the executive director jump happen? Was there and did you ever think that you would ever be in that position?
No. No, so that's also a good story. So Lindsay Lawhon, the director, like I said, and myself, we were the only two full-time people at the council at the time. She got pregnant with her first child. So this is 2015. He was born June 2015. So her and I mean, we spent every day together. Yeah. Once again, it was just the two of us at the office. Other people were coming and going, doing programming, but it was just us. So we had a plan, or so I thought, that she was going to come back after her first child. Funny enough, now she has 4 boys. So
that's awesome.
Yes. So we had talked through this, she was still wanting to work, whatever.
Was that the plan going in? She told you she was coming back?
I'm about positive. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, and I mean, I can't remember now, thinking about it, but yes. And I don't know if it was just I had that said, and I do think she thought because she didn't have kids, I've experienced that with a lot of other staff now. They tell me they're going to come back,
and they never do.
They have a baby, and it changes your life. So 100%. I hear.
So I'm you're like, I heard interim. Okay, right. I'm keeping your seat warm.
Correct. So when she decided not to come back, it was one of those things that I loved her leadership style. I had done a lot of things while she was gone, that was her role. Obviously didn't know what the heck I was doing. Looking back, I am like, How did we make it? But I told my staff at the time, or the staff, that I was going to apply for it. But that really it was like all of us doing it. That like, yes, I was applying and I would be the director or whatever, but like, no, we're all rowing this boat.
Yeah.
So I applied. The board was great and supportive. Once again, I didn't have the experience. Truly crazy to think about. I'm like, how did we make it? But Lindsay continued to support me. Even still now, I could call her. But the first year, it was a whirlwind. It still is. But
so let's jump into that first year. So you go from interim to, kind of just keeping the seat warm to this is it. This is your job. First off, how scary was it? And is it everything that you expected it to be?
Oh, I don't even know. It's like looking back, I'm like, what happened? Yes, I was scared, but I think I was so in the moment of like, we're going to figure this out. And you don't know what you don't know.
That's a great mindset to have.
Which is truly amazing. I had some life stuff. So my dad passed away during that time as well. Thank you. But it's just like looking back, it's like, there was so much going on, but when you're in the moment and I'm stubborn, I feel like that's part of it that like, no, like I'm going to do this. We're going to figure it out. So once again, it was definitely scary, but also I don't think I was as scared probably as I should have been because I didn't know. So I love talking to new directors now because I'm like, I want to share my wisdom, but I also want you to know that like, I don't know a lot of things. I learn things every day, which is great, so we're all here to support each other and know that it's okay to not know everything and to be open to that. So
yeah. Was it everything you thought it was going to be? Or did you think, did it end up becoming harder because you were like, oh, okay, like this is happening like that?
Like once again, I don't know if I even knew like what it was, So my goal was always to be the director of the health department. Like my big pie in the sky goal when I graduated with my master's in public health. And now looking back, I'm like, no, like nonprofit, like, which that is a great position. And once again, shout out to Jennifer McCracken. Like she holds it down, but it's like, that wouldn't be a good fit for me. So, it has been everything, I guess I expected, but also, once again, there's just so much that I've learned and I just love it. Like I said, it's always so wild to me when I look back at just how things have worked out. And yes, so.
What has been one of the biggest lessons that you've learned as executive director?
Biggest lessons? That we're all human beings. That we all, like, everybody is going through something. We're all pushing through, living life, from one day to the next. I very much live that way. And I just have myself to take care of. So people that have kids and everything else, I'm like, how do you do it? Like, but everybody is going through something. Yeah. And so just to be kind. You don't know what people are going through. Meet people where they are. Of course, my love and focus is adolescents. And I feel like that is so very true. They're going through so much, but also adults, I think back when I was growing up and I thought adults, had it all together and had it all figured out. And, it's just so crazy that it's like, we're all living this life for the first time and we don't know what we're doing. And so give grace to people and no matter their age, my mom, she's doing it for the first time, like we're all figuring it out. So I think that's just been my biggest thing with life and work and everything,
I think that's such a good point you made. We're all doing this for the first time. And it's like, it's crazy to look back. Like, and I've been reflecting a lot lately because me and my wife just had a kid, but reflecting on like, wow, like we're doing this kid thing, but it's like how much more respect you have for your parents of like, how'd you do it?
Right.
It's like, this is crazy.
Yeah. So as we've talked before, like I don't have kids. I have a niece and nephew who I tell them they're lucky enough to have a second mom. They agree sometimes, but it's just like nobody knows what they're doing. We're all figuring it out. So once again, like work together, build each other up, be kind. Like I said, that it just life's hard. Whether you have a kid, you don't. Once again, just trying to take care of myself.
100% is a lot.
It is, and the nonprofit world, obviously, I see, so many people struggling. Obviously, through the council, we work with teen parents. So their struggles and different things, and adolescents, like I said, in general. But then the other nonprofits I work with, everybody has something going on. And so just to be, like I said, have grace for people. And I think that's my biggest thing.
And then if we could jump right into the council.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know about the council, what is it? What's the mission? And yeah, let's start there.
Yeah. So our focus is teen pregnancy prevention. So we are in the school system. We are in the community teaching puberty and reproductive health. It is so great to talk to people because they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yes, it's sex education. Never a dull moment. And people always ask, is this what you thought you'd be doing? Heck no. But I couldn't imagine, doing anything different. Our focus, though, is we say 10 to 18-year-olds. So through education, awareness, advocacy, we have a mentoring program for middle school students. Once again, we work with pregnant and parenting teenagers. So we really try to meet adolescents where they are. Once again, educate them, which then empowers them. Youth really do make good decisions if they have the information to make those decisions.
100%.
I feel like a lot of times we try to keep information away from them. If you talk about it, they're going to do it. Mentality, don't get me started. But I'm like, no, which they still do dumb things. I mean, I do too, but
we all do.
Right. It's like, but really they make good decisions if they have the education and information to make good decisions. So I just love the conversations, obviously the whole social media, technology aspect and how much that has transformed and changed not only the world, but just this generation. And I have such a desire and passion for youth and helping them, realize that, once again, we're all figuring it out. So it's okay to not be that perfect person on social media. And I shared with you that I've stepped back from social media close to like 2 months.
Hold on.
Right? I'm like, and just the difference I feel in myself. And I'm a grown woman, that I feel who's pretty confident in herself. But the mental weight of all of those things. So, like I said, I just feel so passionate about working with teens and talking to them and supporting them, I think is like the biggest thing. And then parents as well. We don't want to take the parent's role. I feel like sometimes we get that, people think that about us, and it's like, no, we want to work alongside you, to help you. We realize that, social media and phones and apps and stuff, they're always a step ahead, just FYI.
100%.
So like, how can you combat those issues and that sort of thing? So like I said, that's our focus. We have 5 different programs at the council that deal with those. Like I said, we're in the schools, in the community setting, as well as then with our mentoring middle school initiative. So kind of in a nutshell. Sorry, I'm kind of get off on tangents, but.
So the 5 programs.
Yes.
For people who don't know, what are they?
Okay, so our Healthy Youth Education Program is our in-school puberty and reproductive health. So the school system contract out with us to come in and teach that. So in a lot of counties, I would love to know actually your experience. It is science and PE teachers who are having to teach this information.
Yeah.
I know going back, my PE teacher gave us a book, told us to read certain pages and to really not ask questions. Like, didn't want to talk about it. So the schools have us coming in. We teach over 6,000 youth each school year through that program. We have, right.
That's awesome.
Thank you. We have a Lunch Buddy mentoring program, which is aimed at middle school students. We recruit adult volunteers to meet with a student once a week during lunch for the entire school year. I'm also a part of that program because I believe, if I'm going to go out and try to help recruit people, I need to be doing it. It is typically a blessing. Whenever I leave from meeting my student, a lot of times I'm busy, I don't have time, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. It's always when I leave, I'm like, I needed that. Just putting things into perspective, right? Slowing down. Like, this is truly what's important.
100%.
So those are our two, I would say, I guess maybe main programs. We have a Teen Talk program, which is more community initiative. It's a little bit more in-depth reproductive health. It goes into like the Boys and Girls Club, New Dimensions, alternative schools even. And she uses a curriculum, but she gets to know those students a little more than just what we can do in the school system. Then our Smart Moms and Dads program works with pregnant and parenting teenagers. So while we, yes, would like to prevent it, things happen and life has to go on. So providing those young moms and dads with not only resources, but support, guidance, depending on their personal support system. A lot of times we're the only people they have. So helping them not only with parenting, but life, housing and transportation and jobs and all of that. It's a program. I have a heart for all of them, but it's one that it's like, I want these young people to know that once again, their life isn't over. It's just beginning, and you're a parent. Great, but you can still do great things yourself. Yeah. And then we have a preventing distracted driving initiative, right? Which is, people are like, wait, what? It's aimed at middle school, aimed at high school students. And while we know that they aren't the only ones driving distracted, we try to reach them. We have a contest each school year. We do, we call them Just Drive events at the schools with the car crash reenactment and all of that. We hope to reach them, that they can then reach their parents and other people. So
kind of like using them as like a vessel to then educate other people.
Correct. Yes.
That. Yes. I think the cool thing about the programs that you have is that they're not just focused on one area. And I think that is something that is super impactful because you're not only in this one area, but you're spreading out as far as you can, and that also gives more eyeballs on your stuff,
right?
More people talking about it, because you're not just like, hey, we have this one program and this is all we do. It's hey, this, and then you actually implement it in the community. So you said 6,000 kids, for the first program.
Yes.
How does it work to even like get into the schools? Like, how does that work? Obviously, you guys have been around for a while, but like, how does that even happen?
Yes, that's a great question. And thank you for acknowledging like all of our different programs and all the different, the reach we have. Because a lot of times people hear about maybe one of our programs and they don't realize all the things we do. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so we partner with the school systems. I don't know if you're aware, there are 3 school systems in Catawba County.
I am still very much learning this area.
Which is unusual, I will definitely say. I was at a conference actually yesterday, a state conference, and when I talked to people from other counties, they're like, wait, what? Like Catawba has 3 school systems, like Mecklenburg only has 1, and it's a much bigger county. So that kind of is what it is. We just get to have more partners. That's how we try to frame it. But so like I said, the information that we teach in the school systems is state mandated. So it has to be taught. And then we, like I said, yes, I've just created these partnerships with the school systems over the years that, in my opinion, makes sense. And I don't know why we would ever go backwards. I mean, it's a sensitive topic. Why would you want to have your teachers or anybody else teaching it? Because it is such a sensitive area, and students trust us. So they open up to us. They see us from one year to the next, but they're not going to see us next week in their gym class either, So just that level of comfort.
So it was actually funny you asked my experience. So
Yeah.
Again, I'm from a very much a bigger area I'm from New York.
Yeah. Upstate or?
Long Island. So
Oh,
Suffolk
yeah.
County is where I'm from.
Okay.
Probably just a little bit. Land coverage, it's a lot bigger than Catawba County, but like the actual size of it, it's really not that much bigger than Catawba County. But there's like 2 million people a lot of people.
God.
So we have there's probably 15 to 20 school districts in our county.
Okay.
But my experience with sex ed was in middle school. They showed us a video in gym class. They separated the boys and the girls, and there was a guy gym teacher in there, and the girl gym teacher went over there, and they played us the video, like the typical video going home to mom and dad, like, so I got questions.
Right.
And then eighth grade, ninth grade? I think it was 8th grade or 9th grade where they actually had like an actual teacher, and there was like a whole like part of health ed.
Yeah.
Where like, alternating with gym. So gym would be one day and then health ed's the next day and go back and forth.
Yeah.
That's when like an actual teacher had curriculum about it.
Right. But it was still your gym teacher teaching it?
No. So
it wasn't outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like an actual, it wasn't like, so in New York, there's like health ed. Like health ed is like an actual course. I believe it's 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade. This is going to blow your mind, but we have elementary school, middle in my district, elementary school, middle school, junior high school, and then senior high school. So it went K through 4th, 5th, 6th, then 7th, 8th, and then 9th through 12th.
I love that. I love that. No, because there needs to be, yes. I mean, the 5th, 6th, and then 7th, 8th, they need their own schools. Like, they are going through so much. If they're mixed in with the older kids, it can be problematic. If they're mixed in with the younger kids, it can be problematic. So I love that. Yeah. Yeah. They're interesting human beings.
Oh my gosh.
They need their own space. But
so yeah, that was my experience. I wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think having an actual curriculum around it, because it is something that you need to know. And I feel like, again, it goes back to like what you were saying. It's not like kids don't make bad decisions. It's not like morally, I think kids are good. So it's like, I think just general curiosity gets the best of kids most of the time. And I mean, that's all of us. We're all curious. We're curious by nature. That's who human beings are. Yeah. That's how we've led to, being American. So the general curiosity kind of is that thing, but to have a actual curriculum behind it is super impactful. And I feel like if I would have got that at a younger age, I would have probably been more receptive instead of just that weird video you get shown in the gym locker room surrounded by a bunch of guys with this old guy telling us this and that, and you're just sitting there like, I don't even know what any of that is. I'm like 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah. And
it was like so weird. But then you get into 8th grade and it's like, oh, okay, things start to make sense because you're actually being taught a curriculum and not just shown something and like, okay, if you have questions, ask your parents. Bye.
Right. Yes. That is exactly how it's done a lot of places. And I understand, I mean, depending on resources and different things, but that's what I love about this area, that 5th and 6th grade is puberty, but each year it builds on itself, no matter what. So like they're hearing the information repeatedly, but also then learning more information, each year, 7th, 8th, and 9th, it gets more into reproductive health. But then we also talk about healthy relationships. We talk about goals. We talk about risk, so if you do then choose to do these behaviors or activities, this is what, you're at risk for. Yeah. But if you have goals, then that maybe will change your mind about partaking in some of those activities. I
think the relationship part is such a huge thing. I was lucky enough to see a healthy marriage-ish until my senior year of high school. That's when my parents split up. But before that, it was super healthy. And what I've realized is, a lot of people I grew up with, a lot of people who I've noticed they had children a lot earlier than me, they didn't really have like the greatest of relationships around them. And your environment kind of does dictate a lot, because what you see is what you think is like normal and you think is like healthy and not toxic. But there's a lot that plays into it. And I think, again, just having somebody to talk to is so huge. Being able to be that person to be like, hey, like this this relationship that you think you're madly in love with this person, X, Y, and you know how it is, puppy love. You know, your first boyfriend, I'm marrying him.
Oh yeah,
I'm marrying him. You know, it's like,
let's just do it today. we're meant to be.
We're going
forever.
to the courthouse
forever.
in 5th grade.
Yep. All the time. I see it.
But having somebody to talk to, and I think that would have helped. I think that helps a lot of people, and you don't even realize it until like you talk. So like I was in a mentoring program last year, up in Caldwell, and there was a student there, and she was going through a lot. I'm not going to get really into specifics, but I would just be like, "What's going on? Like, just talk to me. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just here to, be your sounding board." And she would tell me, and she vented to me and all this stuff. And then this year, I was in another mentoring program when they moved up to high school, and she was like, "You helped me get through last year," and I was just like, I feel like I didn't even feel like I did anything. We just talked.
Yeah.
Like you were able to tell me what was going on. You were able to like let and vent out those feelings. And it's so impactful, especially at such a young age. Because I think that is the thing.
Yeah.
If they don't have that at home, if they don't know what a healthy relationship looks like, even like, not even like a romantic, intimate relationship.
No, you're
but like a friendship.
Oh, you're so, you take it over from here. I'm like, you were so spot on. And like you said, depending on their home life and what they see, I mean, then they'll share things with us. And I'm like, oh, no, like that's not healthy. The controlling, the jealousy, like, oh, no, that's a healthy characteristic because they just care about me. No, they don't. The cell phone stuff and passwords and tracking each other now. That is a really big thing. Friendships and then, dating relationships. It's like, well, if you don't let me track you, you're truly best friends. No, right? Like, it seems so insane to us, but in their little brains, it's like, oh, okay, well, I want to have friends. So yes, just having somebody to support them and listen to them, like you said, like just means so much. And you don't think you're making a big difference? You are. Just once again, by listening and showing up for them regularly means so much. So do you need a job? No.
Are you hiring?
Come on. Yes.
So was the initial initiative to do all these programs, or over time were they implemented?
So our focus once again, we were incorporated in 1986, was teen pregnancy prevention. Teen pregnancies were very high in Catawba County, over 400. We're now under 100. So snaps. That program, or focus, but then the school programming really came into effect more so in 2010 when the Healthy Youth Act was passed. And then we have, continued to add programs since then. So I was hired as the teen programs coordinator over the Teen Talk program. So that was 2013. We added that. We also added the Lunch Buddy program around then. We added the Smart Moms and Dads program. Like 3 or 4 years later, it's all kind of a blur. Like I was there for it and obviously did it, but I'm like, I don't know. And then the Distracted Driving Initiative came along about 8 years ago or so. Wow. So yes, it's just kind of people come to us somewhat often, hey, we have this program, maybe another agency is going under or they're going a different route, could you all take this over? And we'll kind of reevaluate. Do we have the capacity? Does it align with what we're doing? But we're at a great place right now for the amount of people we have, staff and capacity. And, we really need to hire 1 or 2 people, but we're in a good place. So yes, we've added programs along that have fit, once again, with our initiative and vision, but are also still very focused. And, we're not just adding anything that has to do with adolescents. People, they're like, oh yeah, you work with adolescents here. Can you do this vaping program? I'm like, no.
We're not taking everything.
Right. Like it is important, but for someone else to do. So
how important is your staff and the team that you work with? Like how I don't want to say valuable, but valuable is the only word I can think of. Like how valuable is the staff that you have and what does that relationship with them look like?
Oh yeah, I could never do. I mean, it's obviously not me by any means. I mean, the staff. I couldn't do it without them. I try to tell them regularly, if not daily, how much I appreciate them. So I have 7 staff. 3 are full time. The rest are part time. But it is truly all hands on deck. So everyone was hired and has, a program that they're over or that they're a part of, but everyone knows. I mean, I tell people from the very beginning during interviews, it's not one of those, oh, it's not my job kind of thing. Like, no, it's everybody's job. We babysit, we transport, we help with events. So we have a lunch buddy mentoring event tomorrow night. People help with, I mean, I truly, my staff, we could talk about them the rest of the time. I mean, just how important, couldn't do it once again without them, but just then also their mindset of they are so passionate and they're always, once again, all hands on deck and volunteering. I mean, I even have to a lot of times tell them nope, you're not helping with that, because they're so quick. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it or, whatever, because I mean, they're great, but we're all there because we're passionate, which I think is so important. And so it makes for just a great work environment. I mean, 8 women that get along as well as we do. People, I know they have to think I'm crazy, but it's wild. They are wild. You heard a little bit about one of my staff.
Who I love
right?
so very much.
Yes. Shout out Tracy Paul. But truly all of them, it's never a dull moment ever. People all the time, they're like, wow, y'all have a lot of energy. I'm like, we do. We come in hot everywhere, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's great.
What was the biggest lesson that you had to learn going into leadership? Because like you said, I mean, you have it's a team of you. It's not just you leading the charge and hey, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. It's like this is a collaborative team effort. What was the biggest lesson that you had to learn in leadership, and what did you do to implement what you learned?
I think just the importance of relationships. I think it goes back to kind of what we were talking about earlier, that everybody's going through something. And if you don't acknowledge that we're all people, I mean, then people can't do their job if they have certain things going on in life. 100%. So like I said, I lost my dad and he was sick. So I just remember the support Lindsay gave me during that time. And I never felt bad about having to miss work or question me. I didn't have the PTO at the time to go to his chemo appointments, but she never would let that hold me back. You're going to absolutely go and we'll figure it out. And so then I wanted to work that much harder for her, and come and do things. And because I was supported. So I think that is definitely the biggest thing, which I feel like more naturally a relationship type of person. I want to get to know you, but I see just how important that is in leadership, that once again, people will go above and beyond for you if they know you care. And once again, we're all passionate, but I do care about them and I care about their families. Sometimes maybe too much because I'm like, how's your grandma? I've been up at night thinking about her. Jordan, let it go, but just really how important that is. We all have stuff going on and we can be a better version of ourselves if we're supported and loved on and, people care about you. So
is there anything that you would go back, not just, at the council, but in life in general? Is there anything you go back and change? I feel like reflection is a huge thing. Mm-hmm. Again, I've been doing it a lot lately, but is there anything that you regret up to this point?
No. I mean, I love that question, but I'm also everything happens for a reason. Have I made mistakes? Absolutely. Still to this day make mistakes. I mean, so it's one of those things though that I feel like I've always learned from them. And so where, yes, you maybe want to go back and change something. I know that if I would go back and change it, then that would affect the outcome and things, then would have been different. Where no, everything has worked out, even though, like I said, I've made mistakes but I have learned from them. So
it's just a question I like to bring up because I feel like there is, again, people make mistakes and there's lessons to be learned and all this stuff. But like you said, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
I think one decision 5-10 years ago, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. So every decision, every mistake, if you will, has led you to where you are. It's just such a great like mindset to look at in life, because if we all were regretful of every mistake we made, I mean, there's some things you wouldn't be able to live with.
Right. When it's hard, you got to like look back on things, and I'm like, dang, I just went about that all the wrong way. But it's like also, once again, I didn't know what I was doing, or I learned from it. So if I wouldn't have done it the wrong way, then I wouldn't have known any different. So like I said, there's some things that, I mean, you could beat yourself up about, but it's like, you can't go back and change that. And so I'm very much like, it's in the past. You got to learn from it, move on, and keep on trucking.
How differently do you think your leadership style would be, or your confidence on the job would be, if you maybe did a couple other roles before you went to executive director? I mean, because you have you're like a superstar. You went right from having a degree to like one job for a little bit. I mean, you were there for 2 years, I believe you said.
Yeah.
And then you jumped into the executive director. I mean, there are some people who have years and years before they get to that position. Obviously, I think it was more timing than anything.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, you're this awesome person, high energy, and they were like, "Listen, we want to give you an opportunity." But do you think about it sometimes, or is like maybe you wish you had a little bit more? I don't want to say experience, but like maybe experience in different roles, or do you think it was just like a perfect thing that you kind of just had a great opportunity as the time was?
Once again, I feel like I got to go with the whole, like, everything works out. So I feel like it was perfect. Of course, I'd always think that if I had more experience, maybe I would be. I mean, I still doubt myself. I'm like, am I a good leader? Am I doing what I need to do, for my people? I always want them to feel loved and supported. And so, I mean, I'll second guess myself even to this day. So I always think, of course, maybe more experience, but then depending on what that experience was, it could have sent me a different route, a different mindset. I mean, I hear of other leaders that are more involved, maybe micromanaging kind of stuff. And it's like, if I ever experienced that, how would that have changed my leadership style? I had Lindsay, who was great. And I loved, like I said, I've always felt supported by her. Once again, when I went through hard times. And so that is just then kind of how I've, based everything. So I just have a hard time ever going back and being like, I wish I would have done this or that, because I can't go back and do it. So it's like, why even think about it? Like, could I be better? Absolutely. I'm trying to be better every single day. I've been telling my staff, I'm like, I'm going to be the best version of myself this year. Like, they're like, okay, like, settle down over there, But truly, I'm like, you have one life to live. Like, why not? Yeah, like, be the best you today and always 1% better or whatever. I mean, I'm reading all these books, if you can't tell, because I'm off social media, I have all this time. So
just taking quotes from each book.
Right. I'm like, I really am so focused on it. And once again, supporting people, meeting them where they are, and helping everybody. So
for someone watching this, maybe they want to donate, maybe they want to volunteer, maybe they just want to share the word. Yeah. What is, like, for someone watching who doesn't know you guys yet, and maybe they're listening to this for the first time and just finding out about you guys. Yeah. What's the best way for someone to get involved? What's the best way somebody can donate? What's the best way that they can just help share the message?
Yes, I would say first and foremost, our website, Catawba.org. I don't know if you can put that somewhere.
It'll be in the link.
Right. I was just going to say the link below, whatever. It's always a great place. I mean, it kind of gives a brief synopsis of each of our programs, fundraisers, that kind of thing. And then, as much as I hate to promote it, social media, I'm like torn right now, because of course it is so great. Once again, I had to step away for just my own personal, but we share stories on there. We try to give program updates. Once again, so people can kind of see a day in the life, of the council and what all we're doing and that sort of thing. So we have Facebook, Instagram. We're debating on TikTok, which is it going to go under or is it not? I don't know. But just once again sharing the people's stories that we work with that are just so important. And I want more people to know about them because, like I said, these youth are doing great things. And depending on what you're listening to or watching, you may be like, oh, this generation is different. I hear people say that all the time. And I'm like, they're different, but there's so many good things. Like you got to find the good always. So,
and then if someone wanted to volunteer, what does that look like? Is it like you like have like an interview with them, see where they best fit? What does that look like? And what should someone know? What should someone know the experience is going to be before going into volunteering for you guys?
Yes. So our main volunteer opportunity is with the mentoring program. And that is meeting with a middle school student once a week during lunch. Like I said, it's like anywhere from like 22 to 25 minutes. And that's typically October to May, which scares the crap out of people. They're just that commitment. But as much as they're out of school for rain, today.
this big old rainstorm we have.
We'll talk about that another day. But then, teacher work days, different things.
Yeah.
They obviously still meet with them a lot, but there's also a lot of weeks where they can't. And then also if they travel, like we are flexible with them. Yeah. It's just important. People ask us all the time, how many mentors do you need? Every middle school student could benefit from having a mentor. Middle school is hard. It was hard back in the day, even more so now. Yeah. So it's like, it truly is, a great need. But I will say if middle school students scare you, then that's okay. Like, don't try to make yourself, want to be a part of it. But then we have a board of directors. We're always adding to that. So yeah, it's one thing, like reach out, tell me your interest, and we'll see if we can get you plugged into a program.
Boom. So that last few things here.
Yeah.
Nursing school. I have to ask. I'm just genuinely curious. How much thought, since getting the executive director position, how much thought have you actually given to potentially going back?
Hardly any.
Wow.
It's like, once again, it's wild to even think back on because I'm like, this feels like such a perfect fit for my life right now, the council. So it's like, I don't, think about it. Once again, never say never. And
door's still open.
Right. And I like the opportunities with nursing. And I feel like there's a big need for public health and nursing, to merge, but nursing is for someone else probably.
I just had to ask.
No.
That's what my wife does. She's a nurse.
Okay.
And she loves it. And, it was hard for her at first. And she had some obstacles she had to overcome. And she was doing it and working like multiple jobs. And there was a point where she was failing. It was a whole thing. But anyway, and just seeing the passion that you have for the nonprofit and you're just talking about it, genuinely seems like this is like your perfect fit.
Right.
Like it is like you're meant to be here. Mm-hmm. The excitement that people have, I'm just going to say, for example, Tracy Paul, you don't see that at a lot of places,
right.
Especially in the nonprofit world. Uh-huh. Because there is no added bonuses or incentives that are monetarily. This is all because you love what you're doing, you love the community, and if for your guys' example, it's you guys get to give back in multiple ways. And in the nonprofit world, I feel like usually it's each nonprofit has that one thing, that one thing that it's hard to stretch out and do 3, 4, 5, 6 different things. Right. But you guys have 5 different programs that affect kids in different ways. Right. And I think that's something that a lot of nonprofits struggle with because either you're focused on feeding people or you're focused on animals or you're focused on, fill in the blank, that you don't have other time to be okay, well, how can we do this, but in a different way and help more people or help more this or help more that? But you guys have found a way to have 5 essential programs to help in different ways that affect people. Distracted driving. How many people die, unfortunately, due to distracted driving? All these different programs that help kids realize that, look, life is hard. And you know what? Nobody really knows what the heck they're doing, but we're going to find it out along the way, and we're going to teach you healthy habits, healthy relationships, and all that stuff. How much pride do you take in your job knowing that the difference that you make, and some crazy time 5-10 years from now, some kid's gonna come up to you and be like, you had such an impact on my life. How much pride do you have in that?
Oh, that's just what it makes it all worth it. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to be thanked or for a kid to come up to me, but I mean, that has happened. And it's just like, just love that. Because once again, like they just need that support.
Yeah.
And so to know that I made any kind of difference, like you said, with, your mentoring experience, for her to tell you that, it's like, that's not why you do it.
No, absolutely.
But you're like, oh, wow. So like it makes the grind, the everyday grind just so worth it. And it's like, all right, we just got to keep it on then. So it's great.
It's awesome. Any big things happening in 2025? This podcast is currently we have like a month and a half before it like comes out.
Okay.
Anything happen towards the end of 2025 or like the next school year that you guys have in mind that you would like to share on here?
Yes. So we have our biggest fundraiser in November. It is November 15th. It has moved to a Saturday this year. It's a big, I know, it's like, change.
Hold on, wait.
Change.
It wasn't on a Saturday before?
No, it's always been a Friday. Don't get me started.
Are you guys expecting like a way bigger turnout?
I'm hoping, of course. You just never know. It's like if people want to come, they want to come. We are a good time. I will tell you that. So dinner, dancing, it's called Event to Prevent. We're trying to prevent pregnancy. And then we are excited. So for 2026, we will be celebrating our 40th anniversary.
Hold on.
Right. So, I don't know what that's going to look like. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to be preparing now. So we have obviously started talking about it, but once again, we're excited. Just spread the word. I mean, I appreciate you giving me this opportunity for sure. I try to take every chance I get, but this has been so enjoyable. But to let people know, we've, been around for 40 years, but we're going to be around for 40 more. So,
and I was, that's one of my last questions is just thinking about it. I didn't know it was 40 years. You've been a part.
Yeah.
By 2026, more than a quarter of the council.
Oh.
How does that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It's great, but I feel old. I'm like, what? How is this happening? People ask me all the time, like, am I going to do something different? And I'm like, I mean, never say never, but I couldn't imagine doing anything different. I love it. I get these opportunities, it's great. So
that's just so cool. Like just to even think about like having so much of an impact that you've been there for that long. You've been there part of a quarter of the history of it. That's incredible.
Just mind blowing.
It is. For someone watching this, maybe I don't know what it looks like. Maybe they're having a tough time. Heck, maybe it's a 18-year-old kid who just got out of high school or 16-year-old kid still in high school figuring out how to graduate. Whatever it looks like. What is the biggest piece of advice you give to someone watching this right now?
Yeah, when you asked me that earlier, I'm like, whoa, God, it's it's just big question. I hate to be repetitive, but I just feel like to be kind, that everybody is going through something and life is hard and we only get one shot at this. So be the difference, be the change you want to see. I have that like up somewhere, my office somewhere. You get this opportunity in life. So be kind. You can always if you could be anything, be kind. I tell the kids that in my classes all the time. But yeah, we're all going through something and we have each other. So let's lift each other up, which is like lifting love. Like I just playing on that.
She put both of those together.
Right. So yes, we need each other.
100%. And I know you've mentioned it a little bit before, but for where people can reach out or contact you guys on social media, if you could just plug it one more time. It will be in the description below, but if you could just plug it one more time.
Yes. So Catawba.org. And then you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, Council on Adolescents.
Boom. And this was another Lifting Love podcast. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Yes. Make sure you go support. Donate, volunteer, share their stuff, share their story. Just an amazing another nonprofit in this area. I think that's one of my favorite things about Catawba County is there's so many amazing nonprofits. And it's coming from where I'm from, there were some cool ones, but like you don't really like. They were just like here and there. Like I feel like there are so many incredible nonprofits in this, and the cool thing is that they all do something different. It's amazing how much help is in this community. I love it. But shout out to the Council on Adolescents. If you haven't done so, go follow them. This was another Lifting Love podcast. But until next time, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And until next time, most importantly, lift love, crush hate. We out.